Hello, my name is Jim Rankin. You are now about to enter into a new and exciting world, the world of the Commodore Amiga 2000 Professional. This video was prepared by Goldisk, a major developer of Amiga software. This video consists of 4 sections. First, the installation of the hardware. Second, an explanation of the Workbench operating environment. Third, the 7 programs included with the computer: Paint 2000, Music 2000, Media Show, Advantage, Golde File, TransWrite, and Page Setter 2. The 4th and final section will be an overview of software and hardware products available for the Amiga. A note at this point. This video assumes that you have purchased your Amiga 2000 with a single disk drive. Okay, let's start with the installation of the hardware. Your Amiga 2000 system consists of the CPU, the central processing unit, monitor, keyboard, and the mouse. Let's start with the monitor. The power cable for the monitor connects here. The RGB cable connects here. Finger tighten the screws. The audio cable is a Y connector with a single jack at one end which connects to the audio input on the monitor. The other end is a dual jack which connects to the left and right outputs on the CPU. We attach the power cord for the CPU here. But first, we make sure the power switch is in the off position. The other end of the RGB cable plugs into the video port. Again, tighten the screws with your fingers. You'll notice there are additional ports for attaching additional hardware, also referred to as peripherals. A parallel port for printers, a port for an external disk drive, a monochrome video output, and a serial port for connecting modems used in telecommunications and other such devices. Now I'll connect the keyboard and the mouse. The connector for the keyboard goes here. The mouse connects to the far left mouse port. The other port can be used for devices such as joysticks. Now that everything's hooked up, I can turn on the power switch. First for the computer, and now the monitor. The screen displays a hand holding a disk with the words Workbench 1.3. This is my cue to insert the Workbench disk into the disk drive, like so. It should click into place. The disk drive light will indicate that it's working. A word of warning: never remove a disk when the disk drive light is on. The information may be destroyed. The Amiga 2000 employs what is called a WIMP user interface. WIMP stands for Windows, Icons, Menus, and Pointer, and it describes an increasingly popular, easy-to-use interface. At the top of the screen, we see the title bar indicating Workbench, and in the upper right corner, an icon for the Workbench disk. An icon is the picture symbol which represents tools, projects, drawers, and disks on the Amiga screen. On the screen, there is also a pointer. The pointer is controlled by the movement of the mouse. I hold the mouse without pushing the buttons. See how the pointer follows the movement of the mouse? Now, I'll select an icon. I move the pointer till it's on top of the icon. I click the left mouse button. With this click, notice the icon is highlighted. This indicates it's selected. With a quick double click, I open the Workbench window. The Workbench window appears. A window lets you see what's on the disk. Now, before looking closer at this Workbench window, I want to show you the menu structure that exists for nearly all Amiga programs. To select an item from the menu, simply position the pointer over the choice while the right mouse button is still depressed. This will highlight the choices as I move over them. To select, I simply release the mouse button when my choice is highlighted. In this case, I selected Close. Before I go any further, let me show you how to back up the program disks by making copies. The first thing we do is select the disk we wish to copy by selecting its icon. In this case, we'll make a copy of Workbench 1.3. Select the icon with a single click of the left mouse button. Move up to the menu, holding down the right mouse button, and release the button over Duplicate. A requester asks us to put our Workbench disk into DF0. This is the computer's name for the internal disk drive. Since our Workbench disk is already in the drive, we select Continue. The data is copied from the disk into the internal memory of the computer. After a period of time, a new requester appears, asking us to place the destination disk in DF0. First, we remove the Workbench disk. Then we insert our new disk. Select Continue. The data now moves from the internal memory to the destination disk. 3 swaps of the disk are required to complete the duplication. Now that the duplication process is finished, we can put our original disk in a safe place and use our duplicate for day-to-day work. Let's look in a drawer. In this drawer, we have a variety of little programs to help you do everyday things. Let's look at the calculator. To start any program, you just double-click the program icon. So let's double-click on the calculator. On occasion, you'll want to discard a file. Drag its icon over to the trash can icon. It will remain in the trash can until you choose Empty Trash from the disk menu. If you haven't emptied the trash can, you may retrieve what you discarded by opening the trash can. You may also discard by selecting the tool or project, then choosing Discard from the Workbench menu. From time to time, you'll need to copy individual files from one disk to another. Merely select the file and drag it to its new desired location. When you open a disk, drawer, or the trash can, a window will appear on the screen. Your selected window will appear over any other windows present. Gadgets are used to change the size of a window, what's displayed inside, or move the window. Most common gadgets are the drag bar, the back gadget, the front gadget, the close gadget, the scroll bar, and the sizing gadget. You drag windows by holding down the left button on the Windows title bar and dragging. To change the size of the window, drag its sizing gadget. To move a window in front of other windows, select the front gadget. And to move it back, select the back gadget. To display other items which may not appear in the window because of room restrictions, select the scroll arrow to move either up or down or side to side. And to close a window, select its Close gadget. In the course of this video, I'm going to be introducing many different software programs. For most of them, I'll need an empty disk to store information or data. To use a new disk with the Amiga, it must first be initialized. Initializing a disk prepares it to receive data. I take my new disk, insert it into the disk drive. Notice how a little disk icon appears. It says DF0, bad. This tells me that the disk must first be initialized. I click the disk icon once to select it. Then I move up to the menu and under Disk, I select Initialize. A requester appears asking me to swap back to my Workbench disk. For one-disk systems, I will be asked to swap back and forth several times. The computer is getting the information it needs piece by piece. Eventually, I'm asked if I wish to continue with the initializing procedure. I say yes, and several minutes later, my disk is initialized. This process will be longer in real time, but this is video time. Let's give it a name. I select the empty disk icon, then rename from the menu. I type in my new name. Let's call it Gold. Hit return or enter. I'm now ready for data. I've now shown you briefly how to get around in Workbench. Now we'll look at the productivity software included with your Amiga. First, let's look at the paint program called Paint 2000. This program lets you paint pictures and create amazing graphics. Place your program disk into the disk drive. The disk icon appears. I double-click this icon and the disk window opens. Here's the Paint 2000 program icon. Double-click this icon with the left mouse button. Once the program has loaded, we see three sections of the working screen. The palette, where the color selection is made, the toolbox, where we can select a number of brush sizes and tool functions, and at the top of the screen, the pull-down menu. Let's do a drawing. Holding down the left mouse button, I move the mouse. I'm drawing a line. When the program begins, we are given a default setting on the color and size of brush. To change your color, simply place your brush over the desired color and click once with the left mouse button. I select a brush by positioning the current brush over the brush I wish to choose and click with the left mouse button. You can select any one of the 8 available. Our screen is getting a bit cluttered, so let me clear it. I move down to the bottom right square on the toolbox section. I position the pointer over this square and click with the left mouse button. Once I click this clear button, the computer responds by warning me that all information, our artwork, will be lost if I proceed. I want to continue, so I place the pointer over OK and click the left mouse button. Our screen clears and I can start playing again. As well as clearing the whole screen, the program allows you to take back your last stroke or operation. Simply click on the square next to the clear. This is the undo command. Be careful, you can't undo your undo. Watch as I draw a line and then go down and click the undo. My line disappears. If I click it again, the line doesn't come back. I can't undo my undo. We've been using the continuous line tool, the one that's highlighted, but we can select other tools. Here, let me show you. This tool is the line tool. I select the start point of my line by first positioning the brush, then holding down the left mouse button. Drag the line to where I want it to end. When I'm happy, I just let go of the mouse and voila, a line. The next tool is a split tool. By clicking in the upper part of the box, we select a square or rectangle line. By selecting the bottom half, we select a solid square or rectangle. Adjacent to this, a circle tool which works exactly the same but draws circles or ellipses in line or solid. This tool is the fill. By selecting this tool, you can change the color of any area on the screen. Select a different color, position the brush over the area you wish to change, click, and the color changes. This is the custom brush maker. By using this tool, you can use any section of your existing picture as a brush. I drag out a box by holding down the left mouse button. The area enclosed by the box when I release the mouse now becomes my brush. I can stamp down these individual squares or paint with them. This brush, once made, can be rotated by using this tool. Flipped in any direction using this tool, and the size changed by this tool. The magnifying glass is used to magnify a section of the screen for doing detail work. The arrows to the right of the magnifying glass are used to change the size of the magnified view. To leave this, simply click the magnifier again. With the ABC tool, we can add text to our drawing. Click on the tool. When the Enter Text requester comes up, enter the text you wish to have. Select OK using the pointer and the left mouse button. You can now stamp this down as your desired text or use it like a brush. Another handy tool is the airbrush. This can be used with any brush and works well for shading. Here I'm using the smallest of the circular brushes. Let's say we want to keep our picture for later use, or to keep as a record. We must first save it. I remove the program disk from the computer and put in Gold. Let's call up the menu. Select Save. I select DF0. Now I give the painting a name, Madonna and Child. I select OK, and the file is saved. This program will also print your picture if you have a printer connected. To leave the program, I go back to the menu and select Quit. You fancy yourself a Mozart or Beethoven, but you don't know a thing about music. Give up. Or try Music 2000. Now, I'm not going to teach music theory with this video, but I am going to show you how to put together a simple musical piece. The key with any of these programs is experimentation. Try everything. First, I'll start the program. There's the program window. At the top of the screen are the menus. 4 choices: Project, Edit, Song, and MIDI. Just under the title bar is a blank music staff, just awaiting your choice of notes. This is where you will enter notes and also edit them. Notice that the staff is complete with a treble and bass clef. Just below the staff is a slider for navigating through your music, bar by bar or by leaps and bounds. Below the slider are 2 rows of 18 gadgets. The top row has notes, the bottom rests, a flat, a sharp, and a triplet symbol. These are the objects used to make a song. Next to these 18 gadgets are 6 more gadgets with pictures of an arrow, small keyboard, more notes, an X, a pair of tied notes, and a trumpet. These are called the action tools. On the far right are 3 knobs marked Volume, Tempo, and Tuning. The next 4 horizontal bars are marked Instrument number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. At the bottom of the screen is a piano keyboard, well, at least a graphic of a keyboard. Songs can be played by pointing the pointer at the key and clicking. Finally, to the right of the screen, a VCR-type controller for playing back your composition, play, stop, and continue. Let's put together a song. Notes can be entered into Music 2000 in 3 ways. You can use the pointer. Simply select the pointer tool, select a note by clicking with the left mouse button, position it on the staff, and click the left button again. You can be creative or simply look at the music as it's laid out on a song sheet and copy this onto the staff. Another method is using the keyboard. I select the keyboard tool. Now, point and click the key on the keyboard. The note will automatically appear on the staff. The other method is using the computer keyboard. Consult the manual to learn about this method. I'll enter a song. Let me first clear the staff so we can start fresh. I select Clear Song from the menu. Now that I've created a song, I'll save it to Gold, our data disk. To save, I use the menu select Save. The familiar requester appears. I put Gold into the drive, click DF0, giving the song the name Yellow Horse. Like the Paint program, Music 2000 gives me the option to print out my work, in this case, a musical score. Another option with this program is MIDI. MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface and acts as a common language so computers and synthesizers can communicate, creating an interesting spectrum of musical possibilities. Let's exit the music. Select Quit from the Project menu and back to our Workbench screen. One of my favorite programs is Media Show. It allows each of us to become film directors. With Media Show, we can combine elements from our other creativity packages to compose a multimedia presentation. This is the Media Show Control Center. Media Show uses a simple timeline display that lets me click and drag to mark up the start and end time of each new event. Let's take a quick tour. This window is called the Scene window. It functions like any other Amiga window. It can be moved, sized, etc. The display in the middle of the window is called a timeline. It graphically shows the placement of events in a presentation. Each different type of event in the presentation, video, title, music, and sound, occupies a different horizontal line in the display. Each of these is called a track. At the top of the screen, we have our project and edit menus. Let's not delay any longer. I'll show you how to put together a presentation. I'll start by using our painting from Paint 2000. This will act as our background. Position the pointer at the video line, click the left mouse button, and slide the pointer across. Let's make it 10 seconds long. A requester window pops up. It asks the question, add a new event. We click the Pictures directory, and there is our painting. We click on this, and then select OK. We now see the video event window. It displays information about the picture selected, as well as a scaled-down representation of the picture. This window lets you select different effects and make other changes to the event. In this case, no changes are needed. We click the Close gadget and enter our next element, titling. Let's start our title 2 seconds into the graphic and end it at 9 seconds. A requester appears, Title Event From. First, I'll choose my font, which is my style of lettering. I click over where it says Topaz, and another requester window opens. One click on Diamond 20 and select OK. We now enter our title by clicking on this box, and a cursor appears. I type my message, Jim Rankin presents Media Show. I now exit. Music will tie it all together. We're going to use the song we composed on Music 2000. We drag out our timeline, or track, next to the music, and follow the requesters, making sure we enter the path for the instruments. Once this is finished, I'm going to save the info to Gold. Now, by hitting the upper play button here on the screen, we will see and hear the results of my labors. I've created a very simple presentation to show you quickly what this program is capable of. You can record these shows using a Genlock onto videotape for school or business presentations. We'll now open the word processor TransWrite. Gold Disk's TransWrite is designed as a high-performance word processor for serious writing and editing work. While it's completely suitable for quick letters, TransWrite will be greatly appreciated by professional writers, editors, and anyone else whose work involves large documents. Text entry and editing operations have been carefully chosen and implemented for efficiency and simplicity, and editing operations are fast, no matter how much text you cut, copy, or paste. Multiple windows can be used concurrently, working as separate tasks in the Amiga's operating system. TransWrite is easy to use. You don't have to do a lot of relearning if you come back to the program after a long absence. I begin running TransWrite like the other programs. What we see now is a blank piece of paper just waiting for that dreaded writer's block to dissipate. As you use the keyboard to type, the words will appear in this window. I won't take the time right now to show off my writing skills. Instead, I'll load a story I wrote earlier called A Tale of Two Cities. Now that the program is loaded, I'll show you some editing features. Using the mouse, I move the pointer to a word I wish to move. I click the Select button, and the cursor will appear in front of that word. I select Cut Word from the Edit menu. Now move the pointer to the spot which I wish to place that word. Click the Select button on that spot. Select Paste from the Edit menu. And you'll see that the word reappears in the chosen place. This can be done with words, sentences, and paragraphs, which can also be moved from page to page within a document or several documents. This is also true of the Copy command. I may copy any word, sentence, or paragraph in the document and paste it in a chosen spot, leaving the first words in their original positions. TransWrite offers a number of styles of text. I can choose from the Styles menu boldface, italics, and underline, which can be used singularly or combined. These are attained by highlighting the word, sentence, or paragraph I wish, then selecting from the Styles menu. TransWrite also has a selection of options guaranteed to make editing a breeze. It offers Find, which can locate specific words or phrases in a document. Replace, which is capable of seeking out a specific word even if it appears more than once, and replacing each one with another word or phrase of your choice. There is also a spelling checker, TransSpell, which communicates directly with TransWrite in the Amiga operating system. With a printer hooked up to the Amiga, you can print any of your files. TransWrite allows me to preview the page as it will appear once it is printed. I can save documents by using our familiar menu commands and by following the requesters. PageSetter 2 is a versatile and simple-to-use desktop publishing program. Desktop publishing involves the combination of text and graphics on the same page. This can vastly increase the visual impact of printed material. PageSetter 2 allows you to import files from TransWrite and other word processing programs. To begin, I'll open the program. I go to the Page menu and select New. A requester menu appears to adjust setting. I'll use the default settings. I select OK, and the page is ready for input. The most important idea of PageSetter 2 is the use of boxes. Every object, whether it's text, structured drawings, or bitmap graphics, which is on the page, is placed in a box. These boxes can be invisible, or they can have visible frames or filled with a pattern. For our purposes, they'll be invisible. The project I'll create needs boxes, one for a title, for text, and one for graphics. I click on the box Create Tool in the General Tools section. Move the mouse to the position on the page where I want the top left-hand corner of the box to appear. Press the Select button and drag the mouse to the position where I would like the bottom right-hand corner and release. I've created a box. This is for my title, and the next will be for text and graphic consecutively. For the title, I select the Text tool from the General Tool palette. I click inside the title box. A small line cursor will appear. I now type in my title. To change the font and size of the title, select the Edit Select Box item. All the text in that box will be highlighted. Then select the Typeface sub-item. A requester appears containing a list of all the available typefaces and point sizes. Select by clicking on Choice of Font, then Size, then click OK. The text will be changed. To import text from TransWrite, select Project Import Text sub-item. The Import TransWrite File requester appears. Click the DF0 gadget and click on the newsletter directory. Click on the first file, newsletter.txt. Click the OK gadget to import that file. To place this text in a text box, click the Text tool to indicate where to place this text. Now, I select Paste from the Edit menu. The text is now in place. I can also change the font and size. Page Setter 2 lets you import graphics from Paint 2000. For now, we will import from our newsletter file. Select the Project Import Bitmap graphic sub-item. A file requester will appear. Click on DF0, then on Newsletter directory. Select the file Newsletter Pick. Select the OK gadget. The graphic is now in place. The page is now complete, except for a few cosmetic additions in the form of horizontal lines, which I'll now draw on the page. These lines are called structured graphics. We can now view the newsletter without the distracting rulers or box outlines. To disable all of the non-printing outlines, I first select Preferences Layout Tools item. The Layout Tools requester pops up. I turn off the following: Ruler, Outlines, and I select OK. Page Setter now shows the page without any lines or grids. This gives a preview of the final output. Let's print the page and see how it's turned out. I select the Project Print item, or click on the Print icon. A print requester appears. In most cases, you won't need to change any of the settings in this requester. The correct settings for your printer must be set up in the Workbench preferences. Consult the manual on how to do this. I've set my printer up, so all I need to do is click on the OK gadget, and out it goes to the printer. You can do so many things in Page Setter 2. Create layouts, import graphics and pictures from a number of sources, import text or type text right in, change fonts from plain to fancy, and change point sizes from 10 to 72. Here's the finished page I just created. With desktop publishing, you can perform the functions of graphic designers, writers, editors, layout people, and typographers yourself. It's possible to fit all the necessary equipment for desktop publishing on a desk, and with it produce high-quality documents. Golde File is a database program. A database program allows you to create and manage a database, which is a collection of data on a related topic. Examples of a database are a mailing list, an inventory list, an index of magazine articles, really any list of related things. The information about each thing in one of these lists, a person in the mailing list, an item in the inventory, or an article in the index, is called a record. The individual pieces of information in each record, like a person's name or street or city, is called a field. The collection of all the records is called a database. A database program lets you add new records, modify existing records, search for records, print reports, and many other functions you can read about and experiment with in your manual. I'm going to show you how to set up a simple database. This requester appears asking us to make a choice. Let's click on New Database. We have the main work window appear, and then the Create Fields requester. This is where we'll define the fields for our database template. On the left of the requester is an empty list. This is where the field names will appear as I define them. On the right of the requester are various gadgets which allow me to specify name, type, and size of field. There are also 3 buttons at the bottom that let me delete, create, or modify fields. We are going to create a simple telephone book. Where it says name, I type first name. I hit the return key on the keyboard, and first name appears in the list box. Return again, and the next space is highlighted ready for my next entry, which will be last name. Next, telephone number. Now that I've defined my fields, I select Continue. A requester comes up asking me to select directory. I choose the drive in which I've placed our famous data disk, DF0. Click in the box next to File and give our database a name, Telephone Book. Now that the database is defined and saved, I can start adding data itself. The Browse screen is what we are looking at right now. It's of course empty because we haven't entered any data. The adding of records, which is how we will input data, is done in the Add mode. I select Add mode from the menu. Looking at the screen, we see that the number 1 appears where we will enter data for our first record. There's also a box where this data will go. As I type, notice that the information first goes into the horizontal bar at the top of the screen. This is then input into the box by hitting Return. We can continue this way until we have input as much data as we wish. Once the data is input, it can be changed. To change data, simply use the mouse to position the pointer over the field you want to change. Click with the left mouse button, and 2 things happen. The square moves to the cell you are pointing at, and the information in that field is displayed in the horizontal bar we used earlier. To make changes, click the left mouse button while the pointer is in this bar, and notice the highlighted square. This is the cursor. We can now erase or modify the data by using the backspace or delete keys. Once you're happy with the changes, hit Return, and the changes are incorporated in the database. Now that we've left the Add mode, our data has reorganized itself in alphabetical order based on the first names. This is the default setting for the program. We could have selected other ways of indexing, by last name, area code, etc. At this point, I'm going to exit this database and load a database I previously created to show you a few examples of how we navigate in a database. There is no end to how the database can be used, and its simplicity or complexity is up to your design. Start with a simple database, like the one outlined in your manual, and build on the concepts as you learn them. Next, we're going to look at Advantage, a computer spreadsheet, essentially an electronic ledger. A spreadsheet is a special kind of application program. Rather than providing a complete pre-packaged solution to your problem, it provides only the framework. A spreadsheet is a numerical framework. You fill in the details. Before I show you how to set up a simple spreadsheet, let me outline the parts of the window. This is the Close gadget, Current Cell Indicator, Calc button, Work area, Scroll button, Scroll bar, Window Sizing gadget, Column Width Indicator, Message box, Cell cursor, Drag bar, Cell Contents box, and Depth Arrangement gadgets. The manual has an excellent tutorial which I'm not going to duplicate here. Instead, I'm going to set up a simple 3-month personal expense record. Before this, let me show you how the spreadsheet works as a calculator. I enter 2 numbers into cells. Into B10, I enter 25. Into B11, I enter 20. To add these numbers and have the total appear in B12, I go to B12 and enter the formula for sum. The total now appears. If I change my values, the total will be updated. These formulas can be for many various mathematical operations. Now, back to my expense record. Let's first give it a title. I'll call it Jim's Expenses. I type this in using the keyboard, and as I type, notice that the letters go into the cell input box. When I'm done typing, I hit return, and the title appears in the window. The cell cursor has moved down one cell. Its coordinates are given in the current cell indicator box. Next, I'll input the column headings. Using the arrow keys, I skip down one cell, leaving a space for readability. This is my services column. Next, I input the month headings. January goes here at C3, February at D3, and March at E3. Now, under Purchases, I list several items: magazines, food, movies, computer access, and gas. Beside each item, I indicate the amount spent in the corresponding month. The numbers entered don't appear as dollars and cents. To have them appear this way, I drag a box around the numbers. Then, go to Format menu, select Currency. The numbers are now translated into dollars and cents. When I have all my data input, I can then do formulas to give me totals. The formula for totaling up a column or any range of numbers is equal sign, sum, left bracket, range of cells you wish to have covered in the total, range of cells expressed as first cell coordinate, colon final cell coordinate, and finally, right bracket. This formula is entered into the cell you wish to indicate your total. The range can be entered into the formula in two ways, either by entering the coordinates manually like this, or by surrounding the desired numbers with a dragged out box. For this method, simply enter the first part of the formula in the cell contents box. Then, drag the box around the numbers range by enlarging the cell cursor. Put in the right bracket, hit return, and the total appears in the desired square. I can have totals for each column and a total for all columns. This spreadsheet can be expanded and numbers changed or added. Watch what happens when I change a number. First, I position the cell cursor. Then I click the pointer in the entry box. I now change from one number to another and hit return. This figure appears in the cell. The total is automatically recalculated. The information in the spreadsheet can be cut out, copied, and pasted down anywhere within the spreadsheet. I enclose my area in a box by dragging a box around it. Next, I go to the menu under Edit and select Copy. This information is now copied to an area in the program called the clipboard. Information is stored here until another copy procedure is carried out. We paste down our copied information by positioning the cursor cell where we want the information to go and select from the menu Paste. Our information is copied to its new location. This same operation can be carried out between two spreadsheets. We can also graph our information. Simply go up to the menu, select from the command section New Chart. If you haven't already done so, the program will remind you to select your range for graphing. Place a box around the figures and select a graph style, 1 of 10. The graph is then rendered. This graph can be saved and printed if you wish. To save our data, we must insert our data disk into the drive if it's not already there. Go to the menu under Project and select Save. The now familiar requester appears, and we follow the steps. Once saved, we could print our spreadsheet. Let's quit this program. With the Amiga 2000 Professional, you have enough productivity software to last you months. But one day, the desire to pick up something new is going to become overwhelming. There are hundreds of software titles to choose from in the area of education, creativity, business, or games. There are many hardware additions available for your Amiga from Commodore, such as additional floppy disk drives, hard drives, expanded memory, and accelerators. And the list goes on. These are a few of the things you will eventually add to your Amiga arsenal. My intention here has been to give you an overview of the products of the Amiga 2000 Professional. To get a grasp of the full range of features each of these programs delivers, you must sit down and read through the manual and practice. So, thanks for watching. Now it's up to you and your Amiga.